Hafa day, everybody. Welcome back to Chili's Week 3 in the NFL here on Pigskin Pickems, led off with the Atlanta Falcons having a utter dismantling of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We are pretty much half the company right here. Andy Wheeler, Kenson Nicholas, I'm Jason Salas, Dave Delgado, and Chris Malafunction Barnett are here to break down all of the games and show you how you did and what you predicted for Pigskin Pickems. And we'll start with Mr. Wheeler over there on the far corner. What happened in the ATL?
Atlanta just came out on fire. Matt Ryan, just throwing after their loss last week, they just came out in home, and they're pretty tough to beat in the Georgia Dome, and they just came out. Matt Ryan on fire, completed like his first 7 passes, and then had like an 86% completion percentage, so just lit it up, and Tampa had nothing for it.
All right, Ken, as far as what our users did with KUAM Pigskin Pickems, which you can register right now, KUAM.com/pick'em, how did people pick?
It seems like 94% of the people went with the Falcons, so no surprise there. I think the only surprise was that it was going to be as big a blowout as it turned out to be. So.
Well, Dave, it was a thorough domination by the Falcons on all 3 phases of the ball: offense, defense, special teams. What did you see from that game?
Well, I saw Devin Hester really light it up for Deion Sanders. He had a kickoff or a punt return for a touchdown where he paid tribute to Deion Sanders, and he broke the NFL record for most touchdowns scored in the return as far as kickoff, punt, and special teams wise. So big game from him, using him a lot in the receiving side, coming from Chicago now with Atlanta. So big things from Devin Hester.
All right, Devin Hester got it done on prime time for prime time. All right, Chris, how did the Buccaneers recover from this moving forward? Because, such a massive loss on national TV. What do they got to do to get back?
This is one of those games where on the plane back to Tampa, the coach says, hey, let's throw it out the window, But I got to say, last week I called it. I said Falcons attack through the air, and that's exactly what they did.
All right, well, we have some other big games coming up. Tune into our games on KUM TV alone because we have 2 huge ones, a big AFC matchup, and we'll go to Andy's Patriots. They will be hosting in Foxborough the visiting Raiders. Could we see a throwback to maybe the Tuck Rule game?
No, New England's going to blow them out. Because after the last week's win, they're on track. They've got everything. Everybody's hitting. They're getting the timing down. Gronk's going to be more of a factor. So I think Patriots all the way.
All right, and Andy, of course.
Not that I'm biased or anything. I'm just saying.
slightly subjective there. All right, Ken, what did our registered viewers think about
I think it looks like the Patriots are executing on all cylinders, and a lot of the viewers at home, those of you playing at home, agreed. So 98% of you picked the Patriots to win. So.
2% of you picked the Raiders, so there are still some members of Raider Nation here on Guam and everybody that registered with us. Dave, what do you say about that game? Because you have watched the Raiders many, many times. You've broken down their game films. What did they got to do to pull the upset?
Well, there's a lot of veterans on there, but they're old veterans. So if they can rile up the younger guys to step up and fill in those different roles like they're supposed to, they'll be all right. But I don't see it happening. I see the Patriots taking that win in that game, especially with them being at home.
All right, Chris, what do you see from this game? Because the Patriots, they've still got, Bill Belichick and his crafty ways and everything.
Yeah, it's been a season of upsets so far, but I don't see anybody rushing to pick the Raiders on this one. And I too, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to go with the Pats. This is pretty much a bye for New England.
I like that.
Interesting game. And, of course, Andy and I were talking about the Tuck Rule game, that playoff game way back when. This game, ironically, features Tom Brady and Charles Woodson once again.
Yeah,
so that's going to be interesting. All right, guys, there is a big game, and we'll start with Double D. We are going to have a rematch of last year's Super Bowl as the Broncos now go up to the Great Northwest to play the defending champion Seattle Seahawks. What do you got there?
Well, I don't usually pick the Seahawks. I did last week. They lost. So I was happy with that. But this time around, I'm going with the Broncos because I'm thinking hopefully they did their adjustments in the offseason. And Peyton looks really good early in the season, so I picked the Broncos winning that game.
All right, Chris, the Seahawks have what a lot of people still believe to be the league's #1 overall defense, specifically the #1 secondary. Can Peyton pick apart those very tough defensive backs?
I think he can. I think I don't think the 12th man's going to be a factor, and I picked the Broncos in the Super Bowl rematch, and I think we're going to see more of a Richard Sherman crying, banging the ground this week.
He did make the cover of Madden this year, so he's got that going for him. Eddie, what do you say?
Well, Seattle coming off of that loss to San Diego, Peyton and the Broncos are going to review that film over and over and over again to see what they did to pick apart that secondary. And they targeted Sherman. They didn't shy away from him and completely eliminate that side of the field. So if anybody's good at analyzing a team's weaknesses, it's Peyton Manning. So I think it's going to be one heck of a game. But in Seattle, they've only lost 1 game there in the past 2 years. So I think Seattle in a really, really good close game.
All right, Ken, the previous 2 games we've gone over have been absolute one-sided selections by our users. What have people got for this one?
You can see with our panel, the arguments for either side are very, very
Convincing.
convincing. So it looks like viewers at home, the split is about even to the Broncos have 42% and the Seahawks have 58%. So pretty close.
I guess a lot of those bandwagon fans are jumping on the computer and voting.
Yeah, there's still a lot of Bronco fans like left on Guam. All right, guys, that was AFC versus NFC, of course, and then the game that we have, which you can watch live on KUAM TV. That's going to be the Monday afternoon game for us. It is the Steelers going to the Panthers. The Panthers looking really good now, Ian.
Yeah, they are looking good. I think Cam, if he's healthy, he's still got that nagging little rib. I don't know how much that factors into his arm, into his mechanics, but I think him and the team, they're starting to get it. Their receiving core is still a little suspect, but they're making it happen, so I think it's going to be a pretty good game. But at home, I'm going to have to go with Carolina.
All right, real quick, Chris, can the Steelers bring back the pride of the terrible town?
I wish they could, but I think Big Ben is still reeling from that hit he took from Courtney Upshaw last week when they played the Ravens. And I too picked Carolina. The Steelers in a funk. They've been outscored 50-9 since the second half of that Week 1 game against the Browns. So I don't think they can shake it.
That is some expert analysis. Dave, real quick, what do you got?
Yeah, I got the Panthers.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
Just like that. And Ken, what have people got for that?
Yeah, everyone at home, 80% Panthers. So
All right, everybody. So make sure that you check your ranks and see how you stack up against us and everybody else who's registered. If you didn't register yet, don't worry. You can always join. Just go to KUAM.com/Pickems and make sure to join in on the fun. That was week 3. We'll see you next week from here at Chili's.